Is there any public comment for the technology committee? Seeing none, we'll roll right into Mrs. Miller. I believe you're up.
Great. Give me 2 seconds here. Give me 1 minute until this powers up.
Okay.
We need a clicker here.
As the IT person, and I would assume that you're the one who might have that, right? Most of the rest of us don't.
I was leaving that one alone.
And I can't work the microphone either.
The little face.
It's the face. There we go. Yeah, no, we really do. We need a clicker here, though. So I'm going to stretch a little bit. So good evening, and thank you for hosting the Technology Committee meeting this evening, Mr. Kraus, for filling in for Mr. Casper. So what I wanted to present this evening is just kind of a broad overview of the technology within the district. We'll go through some slides here that you all hopefully have had a chance to take a look at. I'm going to kind of keep it a broad scope this evening. I'll entertain any questions that you have at the end here. Get started on this. Talk a little bit about the staffing that the department have. So we have a staff of 9 full-time employees, myself included. We started our database administrator today, which is about as exciting of news as I can give you, because that means I'm not doing 2 jobs anymore. In fact, I saw Dr. Yarnell at the PERC today. We were celebrating. I took her out for lunch today. So very excited to have her on board. She's already productive. She was able to step right into it, and she's already productive. So good choice there. So we have 1 network technician, we have a lead technician, we have 3 level 2 technicians that we call them that run around to the buildings, and then we have 2, they're full-time employees, but they are contracted employees. We have a data technician and another workstation technician that are not currently full-time district employees on our staff as well. And one thing that I did not put up under staffing is we are in line to bring on 6 summer interns this summer to help us with all of our summer projects as well. So that should help out a lot, because the kids we have are phenomenal usually to help out there. We utilize a help desk, which is powered through Quest Tech Technologies, which is where we have like our contracted employees through as well. And just to give you an idea of what we do process through, since 7/1/15, we've closed over 5,000 tickets at this point. Now, when you say, what is a ticket exactly? A ticket could be anything from power school is down, to I forgot what my password is, to I can't print. So it can be hardware, it can be software, and we're going to work on categorizing those a little bit more so that we can actually, get some data out of this help desk system, so we can see where our problems are a little bit more finely than just, what we're actually using, or the ticket number. Currently, we have 54 tickets open. So we're doing a pretty good job. We're pumping through a lot of tickets. In addition to our internal staff, we have a couple groups that help us with our network and our infrastructure monitoring and support. We rely on Bucks County Intermediate Unit for some of our support. They're really like our Microsoft gurus that we will go to for some of our server setup, some of our server questions. SCCM, our wide area network services. So we do contract with Bucks County IU for some support services. So we pay into a fund to be able to utilize them as well. And then we do have JLR Consulting still on retainer with us, and we do use JLR Consulting for high-level network design, maintenance, and support. We have a few summer projects that they will be working with us on. Just at the highest level of our network, that we really don't have the staff internally, so we do rely upon them to help us out with some of the high-level networking situations. As far as device inventory, we have right now about 1,950 one-to-one laptops, grades 9 through 11. That includes both student machines and teacher machines. Total in our inventory, and that is counting the 1950, it's a little bit deceiving there, I'm sorry, but we have more than 5,000 devices that we are supporting. That's laptops, desktops, VDIs, that can be projectors, that's everything that's within our technology inventory right now. And we also have about 376 iPads throughout the elementary schools predominantly. So that's part of the inventory as well. Just kind of want to take you through a high level of technology level by level. We'll start with high school. So high school, the big thing obviously is the one-to-one initiative. Right now we're at grades 9 through 11. So we have approximately 1,800 student devices. So far for this year, I just have a breakdown, yeah, I have the breakdown too. I have a breakout of warranty work and accidental damage protection. So the difference would be something that went wrong with the machine that's still covered by warranty, or an oops, my student dropped their new ThinkPad and broke a corner off or broke the screen. So that goes all under the accidental damage protection. This summer, as with every summer with the one-to-one, it's crazy busy. So at the end of the school year, we will collect all the one-to-one laptops. We will repair, send out for repair any of the one-to-one laptops that need to be repaired that are accidental damage protection. Then when they come back, and the ones that we didn't have to send out, we clean them all, we re-image them all, and then that first, it's really 2 weeks before school starts, and that first week of school, we distribute them all again. So that, as you can imagine, is a job in itself. Danielle Dickinson, our lovely assistant behind the curtain over here, she is instrumental with the one-to-one. I don't know how she does it, but she just manages it beautifully. And she does it from behind the curtain. So, did I hear a giggle? This summer we will be deploying Windows 10 and Microsoft Office 2016. So we'll be working with the curriculum office to offer some professional development as well. So the new laptops that are going to come in, we are going to go with Windows 10. Year 4, we're coming up on year 4 of the one-to-one initiative, so as long as this passes through budget next week, which I'll be speaking to you again, we have 625 more student laptops to purchase, and then we will be at the full complement of all 4 grades. We'll have the one-to-one laptops at that point, and we have approximately 35 teacher laptops to bring all the teachers into having a new laptop as well. So over the summer for the 4th year, we'll be ordering, we'll be preparing, we'll be imaging, and then we'll distribute the freshman laptops that first week of school. And again, we'll be deploying Windows 10 with Office 2016. Now at the middle school level, right now we are on the 4th and final year of a lease program for some of the teacher classroom desktops. So we're not touching the teacher desktops at this point. Each middle school has, I think it's 3 carts at each middle school. We'll re-image them and we'll clean them up, and they'll be ready to go for the new school year as well. And then we have the computer labs at the middle schools, and right now the computer labs are running the VDI, which is a virtual desktop, small form footprint unit. We're looking at retiring, I'll use the word retire, the VDIs from the classrooms, or from the labs rather. We're going to be repurposing some of the high school workstations from the labs that will no longer be needed at the high school level, because every student will now have a laptop. So we're going to repurpose some of the high school workstations down into the middle school, and then we're going to purchase the balance of the workstations in 16-17 here to give those VDI labs kind of a refresh. We've had a few issues with some of the curriculum doesn't run correctly on the VDIs. There get some complaints about some lag time with it. Some of the videos do not work correctly with it, the video units. So we're really looking to give that kind of a whole kind of makeover. And then those VDI units that are coming free, we're going to look to see where we can repurpose them throughout the district. We might put them in some of the classrooms so they have like a second, a second workstation, use it as a second workstation. I'm still not 100% sure what we're doing with all the VDIs. That's kind of a work in progress there. Then at the elementary school level, the teachers are up for a refresh this year for a new laptop. Currently, the teachers at the elementary level, they're still running on old iMacs. We had repurposed them, so they're running Windows 7, but it's an old Mac. So we're looking to upgrade to the same laptop that the high school teachers are getting as well, or using as well. So it's the Lenovo Yoga 260 this year is the model. Then those old, the iMac aluminums, we call them. We're going to repurpose them and replace the outdated student classroom Apple workstations. So it's time to give a little bit of attention into the elementary schools as well. Again, they're using the old Macs that have been out in their classrooms for 6-7 years in some cases. So we're trying to bring them up to date a little bit as well. We're working on a student iPad initiative. Last curriculum meeting, you had a couple students who gave a presentation of what they're doing in the classrooms with the iPads. So we're now working with, I'm working with the curriculum office, and Kathy is working with the PTOs to achieve equitable distribution of these iPads throughout the elementary schools. So we're trying to get to a 5-to-1 ratio in the elementary schools with the iPads. We do understand that some of the PTOs have purchased the iPads for some of the schools. So we're also working with the business office to see if, for those schools, if we can redistribute the funds so we can purchase something else. So kind of reallocate the funds a little bit. So if the PTOs have already purchased the iPads, we'll see if we can do, is it FM? What are they looking for?
The FM systems?
FM systems. So we're looking to see if we can repurpose some of those funds a little bit. So we're working with the business office in that respect. And then as far as how we control the iPads, because management of the iPads can be a little bit of a mess. So we're trying to keep control of them, in an educational environment. So we have a system, it's called AirWatch, and that's kind of our management system. Where we can register and control the apps, so we make sure that only approved apps are put onto the iPads, and everybody, if they want an app, the teachers cannot download the apps themselves. We have to push it out through a catalog, so that way we can really control what's on those iPads, and that just helps us with the management piece. A couple new, very new initiatives in progress right now as far as software initiatives. Office 365, we literally opened up Office 365 for staff and students last Monday. So the curriculum office is working very hard for professional development offerings on Office 365. Office 365 is kind of the cloud-based, kind of the online new working of the Office suite. And there's a couple really neat add-on applications as well, presentation applications. There's OneNote, which is like a shared notebook. Curriculum is extremely excited about it. I'm sure it's going to gain steam as we continue to roll it out. So that's one brand new software initiative. Then we have the Canvas Learning Management System, which we are piloting right now. We're hoping to roll that out next week. We have a pilot group of teachers and students. We have a production server and we have a test server. We're going to be rolling that from the test server to the production server hopefully next week for April 18th. And again, there's a whole series of professional development offerings from the curriculum department that go along with that. Then we are in the last benchmark testing phase of the Linkit assessment program. And going along with the whole conversation of testing and so many tests, and our kids are being tested to death here, and we have opted to just give the spring benchmark testing to K-2 rather than doing the spring benchmark for 3 to 8, since they're doing the PSSAs, and a lot of that would be monitoring or measuring the same standards and the same growth. So we are only going to administer that to K2. We will be analyzing the testing results then for placement purposes in 16-17. And we have more professional development offerings, again, through curriculum and through Linkit themselves, to make sure that the teachers are comfortable with actually analyzing the data that they're getting out of the Linkit system. The last new initiative that we've talked about at the board meeting already is the Raptor Visitor Management System. So we went live with that on 3/29 in all schools. So now if you go into any one of the school buildings, and not just into the office, but if you're passing beyond the office doors, you are required to scan your license or to have some type of government-issued ID on you, and that is then checked against an offenders database to make sure that you're not a predator, to make sure that you're not a registered offender. The staff, the building administrators, and the support staff have been trained by Raptor. We had Raptor come in and do a training session as well. We have alerts set up for notifications of district staff, and the local authorities will be notified if we do get an offenders match. And there's also kind of a neat feature. It's a software, it's a soft key, but it's an emergency button. So if they're in the Raptor system, they can actually click on the software emergency button, and the police are actually called. At that point, it's not just a text or an email, there's actually a phone call that goes out to the police. So if they're feeling threatened in any way, they do have that right through the system as well. And right now, we're only using it for the visitors, but there is a volunteer, which could be really helpful, module, and a student tardy module. So we thought we would get this up and running because, security is on everybody's mind, so we wanted to make sure that we had the visitors covered. And now, over the summertime, we're going to take a look at the volunteer management piece and the student tardy piece, and see if we can tie that into student tardies, maybe into Power School, and help to, manage some of the tardies that come in, and the volunteers, because that's kind of, a management, I don't want to say nightmare, but, so with all the new clearances, it takes a bit of engineering to manage those volunteers. A couple of notable summer projects, just to make you aware of. As we all know, we just signed a new copier contract with Ricoh. So we will be setting, we actually have an implementation kickoff meeting on April 22nd with Ricoh. We'll be setting up the Equitrack server for the follow me print function to work with the new machines. The removal of the Fraser copiers will be at the end of the month of June 2016, and then the installation of the Ricoh copiers at the beginning of the month. Ideally, Ricoh would be here, Fraser rolls out, we roll the new one in. We're still working on that. So again, we just have the kickoff meeting coming up. And then Ricoh will do the training of the users on the new copiers. So we'll train the support staff who works over the summer, but then when the teachers come back, there'll be some training for the teachers as well on how to use the new machines and the new features. We have some infrastructure updates occurring over the summer. There's the wireless expansion for district-wide improvement for wireless coverage. With 2015-16 E-rate funds, we did purchase 160 new access points. This is going to take there's going to be some cabling involved and some repurposing and realignment of current compatible devices to make sure that we're getting the most bang for our buck as far as the protocol, the device protocol, the AP protocol. So it might mean moving some of the older access points from the high school maybe out into the elementary schools and putting the newer devices, which just operate at a higher speed in the high school because the laptops in the high school can take advantage of it. Some of the devices at the elementary or the middle school can't take advantage of the higher protocol because they're not the newer devices at this point anyway, so we're going to try and realign, do some realignment. So that's going to be a big project, big project. And then, speaking of other big projects, so also on the horizon, we're looking at replacing the current aging phone system with a voice over IP phone system. We've started, and this is really a joint initiative between technology and the facilities department as well. So we did evaluate one VoIP solution so far. It was a Cisco solution. That's really as far as we've gotten at this point. We're looking at unified communications capabilities, so it will not just be a phone system, it will be so much more than a phone system. They can do some fabulous things with these systems now. And you can integrate it with your security too. Everything's all about safe school. So the focus is all on safe school. The phone systems now can tie into, your, I'm saying ding dong in my head, with your buzzer system. It can send out alerts. It has extended 911 capabilities. So I think when we finally do, pick a winner, so to speak, or, get to the point of evaluating, it's going to be so much more than just a phone system, and I think it will make everybody happy in that respect as well. So we have a very busy summer coming up in technology. What I didn't list on here is all of our software closeouts, all of our software databases have to be rolled over, the new accounts all have to get set up, and yada, 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 et cetera, et cetera. So we're going to be very busy this summer. But it's an exciting time. I'm still growing with all this, so it's really exciting to me. And I'm happy to entertain any questions that you might have.
Thank you. I do have a couple of questions. In regards to the rollout of Windows 10, have you tested that with all the student applications and?
We are actually, great question. So we are at the point right now of creating our first image. We just got our imaging ready to go with Windows 10. So we have just identified what's on our current image. We'll be working with Dr. Scheid and the curriculum office to make sure we're not missing any software. And yes, we will be testing everything before we actually move forward with it. So I think they imaged their first one today, just to make sure everything is going to work. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, because I know that, I do know there's some incompatibility issues with Edge.
So, yes.
Windows 10 automatically puts you into Edge.
Yes, but you can change that, so you can.
It takes a few steps.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So our network technician is working on that. Like, we're aware of those types of little glitches, and some of them might be bigger glitches. Make sure all the drivers work, make sure that everything is going to work, all the software. We do have some older software that we are concerned about as well, so we have to make sure, that we're up to date maybe on some versions or whatever. But hopefully we're going to find that what we are running is going to work on Windows 10.
Okay. And the other question I had is on Raptor. And this may be a procedural question, so it's okay, maybe it doesn't belong here. You mentioned that all visitors, you're working on volunteers. What about all contractors that are working in the building, electrical contractors, heating and plumbing contractors, et cetera?
So anyone who comes through the building right now and does not have a escort with them has to go through the Raptor system. So the delivery men who come in and food services, they come through the back, they are escorted. So they are escorted into the freezer area or wherever they're delivering. So we're not holding them to that, putting that badge on, but anybody else who is coming through and walking around unsupervised needs to have that badge. And if they come in and they don't have their ID with them, they must be supervised. So that's kind of the procedure right now.
And the last question I have,
Sure.
and then I promise.
No problem.
A few meetings ago, we talked about email addresses for the board. Can you give us an update on that?
Yes. So, and I was going to talk about that, so thank you for reminding me. I should have actually put it on the agenda. I do
That's okay.
apologize for that. So everyone does have a Pennridge.org email account now, and I want to verify that everybody can get into SharePoint. I know some people still have problems with SharePoint getting on, or can everybody log into SharePoint? So that username and password will be your username and password for email as well. So what I'd like to do is pick a date now to say that this is the date that we're going to actually start using the email. If I can recommend that we start it at the April board meeting when everybody is here. And that way, so we can kind of kick it off. So we'll see if we can shoot for that as a target date for April 25th. I did verify the calendar does not have email addresses on it.
Is this the calendar that you're talking
about,
about?
the district calendar. So the only thing that is in here for the board members is, it just says board@pennridge.org. So I think we should be okay about that, because you did have a concern that people would, be emailing the wrong address. So I think we're okay with that. Even on the homepage itself, on the website, it doesn't list individual emails, it just says board@pennridge.org. So I'd like to see if we can set like a target for the end of April to start to utilize it. So, a date that Dr. Bradigan is comfortable with as well, and she can, switch over to start to use it.
Can we change the password? Once we get it set up?
Yes, you can change the password, absolutely.
Right.
Yes. Why, you don't like that fancy blah, 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 at blah, 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 blah? Not to give anything away. So, but yes.
I have a few questions. For the just trying to go right through the ones backwards the way he went on, so I don't go back to the beginning. The emails, who has access then to our emails? Like, can anyone access our emails for review or anything like that? Because isn't there oversight within the technology department?
So we do have an archiver, and at certain points, me as the technology director is called upon to retrieve certain emails, but the rest of the tech department, nobody's getting into anybody's email. Is that your question?
Yeah, I was just curious how that works.
No, nobody else is getting into the emails.
Okay, and there was a question that you had before, and now I lost my train of thought. Oh, the board, when it goes to the board, it goes to Anita, and then it goes back. Were you able to fix that so it'll go straight to us?
It'll go
Does
right
that
to
get
you.
forwarded?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yes, so Anita, unless we're going to CC Anita on it, it's going to go out to just the board members, and I think we had decided it would just go to the board members, and we'll cut Anita out of the whole process there. I think is what we had determined at the last meeting when we discussed this.
And the subs also go through the Raptor program too and get a badge through that too, right? Substitute teachers?
No, the substitutes do not, because they're already badged. So anybody who already has a badge is not going through.
Our
already-
day-to-day subs have a badge?
They have a Source for Teachers badge.
Oh, okay.
So they've been vetted already. I mean, hopefully they have been vetted through Source for Teachers, so they are not going through. It's just a natural visitor who's going through.
Oh, okay. When you said we're getting the iPads, I think there was some discussion about whether or not we could use other kinds of notebooks instead of iPads. Was that something we looked into? Does our technology not support that, or?
So at this point, at least at this point, what we're trying to do is keep consistency, since we do have 376 iPads at this point, to try and mix and match different models at the elementary level is probably something we don't want to do, just from a management standpoint. So we want to keep consistency. Now, if we start to introduce iPads into the different levels, I am more than open to looking at a different tablet as well. So, but I really would recommend that at the elementary level, if we would stay consistent with the iPad. So we don't have some students using an iPad, some students using a Samsung, and different operating systems. I think that's going to be confusing, and it's going to be difficult to manage that as well. But if we move any type of an initiative, an iPad initiative, into any of the upper levels, certainly can take a look to see what we could introduce. I'm more than open to that.
Okay, how many, do you have an estimate on how many of those iPads we're going to need to get to that 5-to-1 ratio?
184.
For the Canvas rollout, at what point do we start having that online access for every individual user?
So this year, we'll kind of just, the teachers will be able to use it for this year, but it will be for the 16-17 kickoff of the new school year. That's when we'll have the access for, and it's just at the high school level, but the parents will be able to get onto it to view, the assignments and some grading. So that's going to come, the kickoff's going to come in 16, 17. I don't think parents can access yet, correct? Kathy, I'm looking at you.
Oh, okay. No, but they will be.
They will be, but for the
Right now they
16,
can't.
17 school year.
Well, because I know we were importing the information from Power School, so at what point are they actually in the system where they start? Do you know what I mean?
So there is a handshake between Canvas and Power School. Right now, it's just from Power School into Canvas. By the school year, we're hoping that we can go from Canvas back into Power School. That still remains to be tested fully to see how that handshake is going to work. But at this point, every night, rosters are updating, grades are coming in. So that process is already happening. It's just not rolled out to everyone yet to utilize. It's really just the test group who is using it. So once we go then into the production mode, then the teachers can start to use it for the end of the school year here. But again, it's going to be, the expectation will be that they'll all be using it at the high school level now, I'm talking about for the beginning of the 16-17 year.
Okay. And were you, I'm sorry, I don't know if I followed this. You were talking about getting rid of the VDIs in the middle school and the elementary school and replacing them with laptop cards?
Not that, no, I'm sorry. So the middle school labs have VDIs, and we're going to replace them not with laptops, not with the cards, but actually with desktops in the labs. We're not going to go with laptops in the labs.
Okay, because aren't there, I thought there was one middle school that doesn't even have that just has all
No.
laptops, right, or no?
No, not at the middle schools. I think you're thinking one of the elementary schools. One of the elementary schools does not have a lab. I think it's Goose.
It's good.
Oh, okay, maybe
Yes.
that's what I'm thinking of, that was
Yes.
different.
But the middle schools have 3 labs. They have 2 computer labs and a library lab.
Okay. Have we looked into is there any interest, do we have any smart boards in the district, and is that something that's of any interest?
We have
in getting any of those?
Neos in the district. So yes, we do have them.
Do we have them at all of the schools, or do you know?
I don't know the inventory on that. I can find out for you. I don't know the inventory of the smart board or the Neos.
Okay.
They're not consistent in all the schools. All the schools have them, but the number of them are different. And there was never an initiative, from my understanding, for smart technology. There were the projectors in all of the classrooms, and then they have the white drop or the white board behind them. And then some schools have the Mimeo, some schools do not. So Diane's absolutely right. There is no clear inventory or direction at this point on where we move from here. I think I've only seen one smart board. It's smart technology has really not been utilized here.
I'm just wondering, I know there's a big push for the iPads, but I know that the smart boards, then the whole class can come up and use it, and you can kind of have the whole group around it, and I'm just wondering if that's a tool that maybe we should be considering.
There's a lot of different opinions about smart boards, and some people will say they're smart boards, but they're not really used very intelligently. To your point, though, because I've been in many, many classrooms with smart boards, the value of an individual iPad for individual instruction and meeting the needs of every children is far greater with the device than it is for the smart technology or the Mimeos, which is typically used for large group, maybe small group. You could have students who go up and there's touch technology with that. But the value that we see with the iPads is there are so many applications that you can use for individual students and small groups and meeting the needs of the students that outweighs that. Not that I don't think that smart boards are a good thing, because I actually do, but I do see that what you can do as a classroom teacher, you can do with those Mimeos what you could do on a smart board. Because it's accessing the internet, it's getting kids engaged, so there's value there. But it isn't the same value as when you're looking at individual needs.
Right. Well, I used to have one in my classroom, so I guess I have a little bit of a biased opinion. But I just thought it was neat because you can create you can create interactive lessons on there for the whole class and guide them through, and there's so many things that you can share with other teachers and across grade levels, and so I just, I know that was a tool I really liked.
And I agree with you, I like that tool as well, but we have not inventoried to date.
Okay. And then my last question was, is there going to be a way for us to log on to the internet on our devices when we're here for meetings or anything?
That's all part of this summer kind of project to try and re-provision the guest network. So that's all being kind of evaluated right now, how we can make some changes to make the guest network a little friendlier. So we are talking to, that's something that JLR is helping us with, to see if we can re-provision the network a little bit, the wireless, as we, again, go in with more AP devices and make district-wide improvements. That's one of the things that's up for discussion as well. So hopefully, I'm not going to promise you 100%, but it's definitely on the table.
I have a question about the functioning of all the computers and labs we have. And I haven't heard any issue. A few years ago, there were a lot of, I heard students and teachers and parents complaining a lot about things not working, computers not working. And I haven't heard it in a while, but now my students, two of my kids came home and said at the middle school, they're working on a project, everything was frozen, they couldn't do it, they couldn't get the work done that they needed to get done. So I was just wondering, because you didn't really talk about the functioning.
Are you talking about the functionality in the labs?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that is kind of a recurring theme. So that is where we're looking to do kind of, I'll call it the makeover, to replace those VDI units with a desktop unit that will function and will carry through the curriculum a little bit better than the VDI, which is a thin client. So it just isn't quite as versatile as, a regular desktop. So that is definitely what we're hearing. Yeah, we're hearing it, that there are some issues with them, definitely.
Is that a new complaint, or it's been since we've been using them?
So
it's been a standard complaint. And is it just that? Is it just the VDI?
Predominantly, we're hearing complaints with the VDIs from the computer teachers, and I think, so the VDIs filled a need at the time, and the life expectancy was 3 to 4 years of those VDI units. I think we're outgrowing them. The curriculum is outgrowing them, is what I think is happening at this point. So we are listening to that, and again, working with the curriculum department to make sure that the technology that is in the labs does meet the curriculum needs, and this is, what we're discussing right now as a solution.
Thank you.
Sure.
I had two other questions.
Nah.
The
I'm kidding.
the laptops, there's been discussion on how each year the laptops have kind of changed for the one-to-one program. Are we using the same laptop that we used this year? Is that the best of the ones we've used so far? Is that the
Yes
most
and yes.
cost-effective? Is that, I
Yes.
don't know the decision-making behind switching and all of that.
Yes, good question. So we are trying to keep some consistency. Again, when you have the consistency, not only do you have equity among grades, but it's also much easier to manage them, and it's much easier to support them as a technology department. Because again, you can see, we have 9 people and we have many, many, many devices. So as we go to more of a consistent model throughout the district, it just makes our lives much easier, to tell you the truth, because we're only, we're supporting, instead of supporting something different at each grade level, now we have a little bit of consistency. So the model that we're proposing for this year is the same model that they used last year, only it's the next version. So it's the Yoga 11E generation 3 or 5 or 6 or something. So yes, there will be that consistency, and that's really what we're striving for at this point. And we've had Lenovo's now, so with this incoming class, that'll be 3 years of Lenovo, and we had the first year we started with the HPs, the bricks. Yeah. So they're heavy duty. I'll give them that. So we are being more cognizant of that the student is carrying it around in their backpack and they're heavy. And that's what you're looking at right here. They're heavy. Yes, they're heavy.
What happens at the end of the 4 years? Do they take them home and they keep them after that?
No,
or
it's a leasing program, so they will be
Okay.
turned back in. So it is a lease program. It's a 4-year lease.
Okay, and just one last thing, I've heard a lot of complaints about kids downloading games on their laptops, and then when they're supposed to be working, they're sitting there playing on games, and I'm wondering if there's any way that we can prevent them from downloading, Mario and whatever else on their laptops and sitting there and playing with that when they should be working. 'Cause
Well,
I've been hearing that I've heard that from teachers, I've heard that from students, and I've heard that from parents.
So we block them as quickly as we can. There's one game out there, Agra something, that we were having some issues with, and we did figure out how to block it now, because it wasn't just under one name, and I forget the name of it, I'm old, I'm sorry, I don't know what the name of it is. But it was out there on the internet under so many different names, but we did come up with a way to block it now, so they cannot get to it. So, games are not supposed to be downloaded, things are supposed to be blocked. And when something comes up that isn't blocked, it's usually the other way around, and they can't get something to something, and we have to unblock it. But if you can give me certain examples of, what you're hearing is being downloaded, we'll take a look at it and make sure it's not getting through the filter, because that should not be getting through the filter.
Okay, so we should send those specifics to you so
Send it
that
to
you
me,
can.
and then we'll take a look at it, absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Sure. Anything else?
Thank you, Mrs. Miller.
Okay, thank you.
Any public comment? Mrs. Herron.
Diane, Herring Hill Township. I tried to keep notes while it was going on so I could logically throw through. First thing, staffing. Does the district have anyone who is either MCSA or MCSE qualified and certified on staff? Or are we relying on an outside source for that? We already developed a full Windows protocol. I'm surprised if we don't have at least an MCSA, if not an MCSE on staff. I no questions. I am, however, deeply troubled by the Apple iPad issue. I stood here myself, I stood in the other boardroom when those letters of donation would come in, and I would ask the question, why are we accepting Apple iPads if we are supposed to be on one infrastructure network? And I kept getting told it's because parents want that, and parents want to donate that. The cost factor, though, is if you told the organization, we can't take an Apple iPad, but we can take a tablet, you can buy twice as many tablets for the money that you would have donated the Apple iPad for. There isn't an app out there today that isn't made in both an Apple product and an iOS Android product. Okay? So to hear us doing this again, and to hear us to continue down this road, 3-4 years ago, I sat in that meeting till midnight. There were dozens of people in there, but only a dozen left standing. At midnight, when the vote came down, we were moving through to 101. And I applauded everyone because the concept was it was one infrastructure, one network. And here we are in an utter network chaos again. We've done ourselves in. And it appears that we're going to continue to do ourselves in. Yeah, we have to have equity in the elementary schools. But we've now gone out and sourced another software program to manage these apples in the network. We're either going to do it or we're not, because that was what we all got told was going to happen 4 years ago, and 4 years later we're here, and now we're going to continue and we're going to go out and buy more apples. This is not a good, sound technology structure. You don't build a platform for a district-wide that embraces this kind of dual system. I mean, I heard the word chaos 5 times tonight from the person who's in charge. That's exactly what we do here. So somebody, please have a common sense discussion and make a decision about the direction. Because if you're going to continue to go down this road where you divide the infrastructure networks and you keep the elementary schools over here because everyone loves Apple and it's brand recognized, you can do everything on a tablet. And for the money you're going to plunk down for 184 more Apple iPads, I bet you could lower your student ratio. I bet you could put 4 to 1 or 3 to 1. Because if you go out and buy a tablet that does the same thing that that iPad does, you can buy more of them for the same money you would have spent on the Apples. And then you don't have to worry about getting every parent who gave over their money, who fundraised for it, and now you're talking about swapping that money and those devices from building to create equity. Why not just make it simple? Put tablets in the buildings where there aren't any Apple iPads and source out the Apple iPads as they die off. And buy tablets. You can get a lot more bang for your buck, and then you don't have to spend all this money redoing your infrastructure.
Thank you. Mr. Linden.
I think we told you that a long time ago. I have questions. Robert Linden, West Rock Hill Township. How many mobile phone users are on the internet, on the Wi-Fi system here? Where's the technology person? You have no mobile phone users using the Wi-Fi?
We do not support bring your own device.
Well, but do you have mobile phone users?
On the Wi-Fi? No, just some administrators, that's it.
Oh, you do have some.
Administrators, yes.
Oh, okay. So first it's no, and now it's some. Because you have access points for mobile phone users. You also have access points for guest users. How many guest users do you have on your Wi-Fi system?
No one gets on the.
Mr. Linden, can you direct your comments to me, please?
Yes. She's answering. You're supposed to answer. You follow your rules.
I'm taking your comments and we'll get answers to your questions.
I can look at your Wi-Fi and I see that you have access points. You have SSID set up for these users, so I imagine somebody's using it. And I concur with Diane's comments about tablets. You have that choice, and you also have the possibility of bring your own device or buy your own device. Maybe the school sets the standard, but the student can buy it. You certainly have that opportunity. It's been pointed out to the school before. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
When do I
Linden.
get my answer?
I will get you those answers. Thank you. Any other comments? All right. Well, this concludes the Technology Committee meeting. Thank you all.